What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all latest content as and when it drops. So, this is just a brief little video here. We're just going to talk about Anthony Joshua. So, obviously, Anthony Joshua comes back with an impressive victory, a stoppage victory, where Otto Wallen was made to quit in his corner. Joe Dimash took him out of the fight. And yeah, he comes back with that stoppage victory rather early in the fight, 6 rounds. And now, with Deontay Wilder losing, I'm having a few thoughts on who Joshua should actually face next. As all of you will know, Joshua and Wilder signed a 2-fight deal to fight each other, I believe, twice, to have one fight in March the 9th of next year, 2024, and then the second fight, I don't know when that would be, but basically they signed that contract before both men got in the ring. Wallen versus Joshua, and Parker versus Wilder. So obviously Parker fumbled the bag, as they say. So what am I saying? Parker. I mean to say Wilder fumbled the bag. Wilder lost, obviously, to Joseph Parker. Parker kind of ripped up the script. And now I'm not sure that we're going to get that Joshua Wilder fight. So in terms of who should be next, there's a lot of names floating about. And, I'm just going to give my little thoughts on it, a bit of opinion on it. And for me personally, I think first thought comes to mind, I think he could just go ahead and fight Deontay Wilder. Now that does sound crazy, and I don't know how marketable that fight will be, but I do know that Deontay Wilder has a fan base. He's got a lot of sycophants and a lot of people who, pretty much just believe whatever he says. I mean, if he loses, it's always someone else's fault, and they'll leap to his defense. And I think, he himself will, in spite of, being dominated and beaten badly by Parker, I think Wilder, he's one of them individuals that he's that delusional that he'll believe he's probably the favorite, and he's probably the A side over Anthony Joshua. When you look at the excuses he was offering after losing to Fury, oh, he had egg weights in his gloves, he had no padding in his gloves, my trainer spiked my water, my costume was too heavy. I mean, the man comes up with a number of excuses, and he still holds to this thing that Fury cheated. So he's a guy that he's good, but he's very delusional. When it comes to him losing fights, it's always some excuse and someone else's fault. So I reckon for Wilder, he won't lack self-belief in a Joshua fight. I reckon he would come out and he'd be willing to do it. If they put it together, I reckon he'd be willing to do it. And massive payday for Wilder, massive payday for Joshua. And I think it's one of those fights whereby you're going to massively favor Anthony Joshua just based on his performance recently. But at the same time, there'll still be people out there. There'll be still people out there saying, well, Wilder will still catch him. Joshua's got a glass jaw, and there'll be enough. It's one of those where I would definitely lean towards Joshua, but you're still going to have the intrigue there. You're still going to have people there saying Joshua's vulnerable, he's no good, he's this, he's that, and there'll still be that narrative going against him by certain people in spite of what we've seen. So I think there's enough in that fight for it still to happen. And if the Saudis put it on with a good undercard or whatever, people will still watch. And it's one of those things where their names have been linked for so many years that it's almost like, the same way with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, where, okay, these are different guys, different stages, but I suppose they were at the end of their career too. And although Pacquiao did lose, he lost to Marquez, and Mayweather had beat Marquez too, there was still that intrigue. There was still that intrigue in spite of that loss, to the point where he had his fans, Mayweather had his fans, and there was still that clamor and still that belief in people that, yeah, you know what, Manny can still do a job here. So I think they'll, to a lesser extent, there'll be that sort of belief when it comes to Wilder. I mean, other than Wilder, I think you could have, the plan, the other guy, FILIPHRGOVIC. I think you could still have him. He's number one IBF. So for Joshua, it's a great one to put him in pole position. You could have him. I think you could have even a Joseph Parker fight, because that would be interesting. That's a rematch. He's beaten Parker before, but Parker's sort of come on, and he's coming off of a great win over Deontay Wilder. So you could definitely market that fight and sell that fight. Other than that, you could have a sort of left field choice. You could go in there and fight Zhile Zhang, because as we know, Zhang is a guy that's got a lot of steam behind him. He might be 40, but he still looks quite fresh. He done a job on Joe Joyce, not once, but twice. So Zhile Zhang is a very good opponent where you could sell that. They met as amateurs, and Joshua got the better. I remember watching that in the 2012 Olympics. Joshua got the better of him as an amateur, but Zhang has become a very good professional. Another guy that, he's only lost controversially to Hrgovic. So for me, I would say those are intriguing choices. I do also say you could even market a Daniel Dubois fight. I mean, Daniel Dubois proved himself against Big Baby Miller. Got Miller out of there. He's a guy where, there's a lot of belief in him. He's got momentum behind him. That's a kind of left field choice you could go for. So for me, in terms of what's next for Joshua, I think it's those names there. I think Deontay Wilder is a good option. As much as you might think it's one-sided, you never know. I think Wilder, I think Parker, Zhang as well, and then another way left field choice, as I said, Daniel Dubois. That's what I think could be next for Joshua. Those four guys. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. In light of what happened between Parker and Wilder, Parker beating Wilder, what do you think? Who do you think Joshua should fight now? Do you think he should still fight Wilder, or do you think perhaps one of those names that I've just mentioned, or maybe another left field choice, a Caballero or whoever? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.